Welcome back to our non-toxic podcast. I'm Bre.
And I'm Hannah.
And we got the cargo memo.
We did. We could haul so much in our pants right now.
Truly.
Cargo pants are it for me.
Okay, same.
This is all I need for an outfit.
But I still have to have the scrunch at the ankle. Yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah.
This is, I don't want to show my ankles. That's something I never want out.
Honestly, too, like, let's talk about how I won't stop wearing these Uggs.
They're so cute. I have fake ones. Did I show you them? I ordered them off Shein.
Have you? Okay, someone just asked
They
me
were
about
$9.
DHgate.
I got a collaboration email from them that I haven't responded to that you just reminded me of. So
Hannah.
I know. But here's the thing. Those of you who don't know what DHgate is, it's like a website that people use to get dupes or what's the nice word to say? Fake products.
Dupe.
Yeah.
That is the nice word.
Fake designer products, basically. So you can buy like Prada sunglasses. You can buy like a Louis Vuitton bag. And I've heard of it because it's pretty viral on TikTok, but I've never done it because I'm afraid of getting like my information stolen from some sketchy website. So I have never heard like a real test. Actually, I have from a couple people.
No, there's a girl on TikTok that's like super.
Swears by it.
You know what else someone sent me? This kind of scared me. I had an injector and she was like, have you heard of DHgate? And I was like, yeah, from TikTok. Mm-hmm. And she was like, they are selling like hydrofacial machines for like keep in mind, these machines are like
tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
Not cheap.
This one, the girl was like on TikTok talking about how she paid like $400 for it.
Oh my gosh.
And like doing
That's
facials.
the cost of 2 hydrofacials.
I'm not understanding. Yeah.
No.
I'm not understanding. A part of me is like, is she genius or is she just ripping everyone off?
You would have to see the machine to know.
I don't think the ethics in me is like,
But even so, like, what if it doesn't even do the same thing?
I don't understand.
Because as a consumer, I wouldn't know what the machine's supposed to be doing. Like,
of course.
It could very well just be one of those pens that you get at Walgreens that sucks the blackheads out of your skin.
Or like an at-home
I wouldn't
microneedle.
know. That sounds like a good way to get an infection.
It's terrifying.
Don't mind.
That didn't get picked up.
Terrifying.
I don't know. So we're not doing the DHgate.
Well, I kind of want to because they offered me basically like, I think they said 5 products and then commission off of if people use my affiliate link, which is a good deal for someone. Like I'm not an influencer. I don't have a large following. So that's a really good deal.
You do have what?
Well, like in the influencer world, I don't have a big following. Like I have less than 10,000 followers. So that's not even considered like a micro influencer. Or maybe it is. It's like a nano influencer or something if you were to go by the tiers. But I don't have a lot to bring to the table as far as follower level. Like my followers are engaged, but
I feel like maybe this is me like giving myself too much clout. I'm like, if I actually took the time and tagged my stuff, like I had a girl yesterday, she's like linked to the shoes all the time. And I'm like, I don't.
I send out a lot of links for specific things. Like I've sent out the link for my little digital camera so many times.
Yeah.
Which is a decent thing. So like if one person buys those, like you do get a commission. But a lot of my stuff is thrifted, so I can't link it because I don't even know where it's from because the tag's since been ripped off. So I don't know. But all that to say, I just don't know because I'm not usually a person that's like, I'm not going to do that. Like I'm not highfalutin by any means, but I'm like, is it weird to promote a website that's kind of known for fake products?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Like, I don't know that it's embarrassing necessarily, but is it like cheap to do that? I don't know. Because I wouldn't mind to have some like good fakes.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No one knows anymore.
Give me the fake Prada sunglasses and I won't stress about breaking them.
But here's my problem. I treated myself and bought real Prada sunglasses.
If I broke them, I would cry.
But here's the sitch. I was in store. I was like, I really like these. They were $521. I was like, I'm turning 30, like whatever.
Right.
But I still like, I just don't want to drop that right now.
Yeah.
And I noticed some people, it's like, okay, no big deal. And like,
unfortunately, it's not.
I plan to treat myself, but I was like, these also, I always go by like, which you're not going to be shocked by this, like what's trendy.
Yes.
And I'm like, these are kind of trendy. Like, yes, they're a classic glass, but like kind of trendy.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I'm going to look online. Found them online. Guess how much?
$18.
$271.
Oh, dang.
The real deal.
I'm going straight to fake, obviously, in my head. Dang.
And so I bought them because I'm like, okay, well, that's saving me like almost $300.
50% maybe.
Truly. It's like free. Girl math.
Girl math.
I found it for such a steal.
You wear them 27 times. That's $10.
I probably already went, like I wore them my whole trip in New York. I was so excited.
Basically free.
Literally free.
Basically free. I'm impressed.
So instead of buying something like that, I bought myself jewelry for my 30th birthday. No big deal.
I want to see what you got.
This.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's real diamonds and gold.
Gosh. Is it one of those things that Alex would like buy yourself something and then say that I picked it out for you?
No, I came home and I was like, hey,
it's beautiful.
I spent, which this has always been this is like, I always said when I turned 30, I was going to go on a trip, and I always said I'd buy myself like a designer bag. Like I was like, I want to go in and be at a point in my life where like, it's not like, oh my gosh, this is such a huge deal. And I'm not trying to say we're like rolling in it, but I'm proud of how hard I've worked. Yes. Like, and I deserve to, but instead of a purse, I hit 30, of course. And I'm like, I don't really want a purse because like, yeah, that's great. But like, I want something I could pass on to my kids.
Yeah.
So I went into a jewelry store and got like solid gold, like the chain with the C, and then this longer one with the diamond K.
I love it.
So I still spent a really good chunk of change.
As you should.
Like enough that I was like, I gotta definitely warn my husband.
Before he sees the bill.
Yeah. But like I came home and I was like, hey, I kind of spent a lot of money on the gift for myself. And he was like, oh, I figured, like, did you get a bag or what? Cause that's what I've said. And I was like, no, I got jewelry instead. And he's like, oh, awesome. And I kept waiting for him to be like, yeah, I saw it.
Like how
on
much
our
was
statement,
it?
you know? And he was just like, cool.
Supportive
That's awesome.
King Alex. We love to see it.
I was so nervous. I'm not going to lie.
What if he just like went to the bedroom and just like screamed and came back out and he was like, what'd you get?
Yeah. He's like, no.
Oh, it's very nice.
No,
yeah,
he was like,
love it.
he was really, I mean, I don't know if it's just because I've always been like, I'm going to get myself something.
You've like braced him for this purchase for a while, which is good.
Which honestly, like the jewelry, I'm like, I could have spent like thousands more and got a purse of all things.
Right, right.
So
it's one of those
I did pretty good.
I think it's something that you should be proud of. And you only turned 30 one time. You've worked super, super hard. In the past decade, if you were to culminate that into something for yourself, you don't want to go cheap on that.
No.
And if it's something that you're like, you love the look of and you're happy with, like I get that not everyone's like, I don't want anything expensive. That's fine. You don't have to get something expensive. But if you want something and you have your eye on it and you like, just look at everything you've done from 20 to 30.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll have to do a whole birthday episode, like reflecting on all of that.
I think little Bre deserved these.
I agree.
Diamond and gold necklaces.
She did. Stamp of approval.
I'm going to treat myself.
And it goes so perfectly with everything else that you have.
Well, that's the thing I wear. I haven't taken them off since I got it.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Done.
I've got 5 years to prepare for my big 30th purchase. So
I know.
I'm going to start thinking about it now.
It's kind of fun. I literally was like, I'm going to go get a Louis Vuitton in the Louis Vuitton store. And I really thought that. But I was also like, I don't know if that's really what I want.
And you can change your bag now because sometimes for purses, it's hard for me because I love to change my purse with every outfit. So I don't know that I could have a nice designer purse because I like to switch it based on what I'm wearing all the time. Sometimes you want a small bag. Sometimes you want
and it's trendy right now to have the teeny tiny ones. Whereas like before,
and meanwhile, I carry luggage with me everywhere I go.
Truly.
But if I were to go to like a date, I would switch to a small bag.
Like a cute little
one lip gloss and that's it.
In your phone.
In my phone. Maybe.
I was thinking of this thought this morning driving home from dropping off my kids. And I was like, you know what? You know how they say like, what did you say? Your stuffed animal starts to embody you? Or like people say like your dog or whatever.
You start to look like,
in my head, I was like, you know what? I think Hannah and I are truly our coffee orders.
We got our.
I was like, I get a literal vanilla latte, half sweet.
Classic.
Every time. Like, and I was like, that's very classic and like timeless. Vanilla is like the most classic flavor.
It's like everyone likes it too.
Yeah.
Like if I were to tell someone like, oh, you're guaranteed to like this, vanilla latte. Also, I could introduce you to anybody and they would be like, oh my gosh, she's great. Like there's no risk. I feel like whenever I introduce you to somebody that they're going to be like, she's not for me.
And like,
that's how I feel.
It's borderline basic, but almost classy enough to be like, okay, not too basic.
Here's how I feel.
It's not like you're getting caramel.
Let me equate that to myself. What I had today was the Monstera, which is 4 shots of espresso, oat milk, and then I also got sweet cream cold foam on top of it.
Okay, but I was thinking, I'm like, what's Hannah's order? And I'm like, there is none.
It's always switching.
There's nothing that I could be like, okay, but that's what she's going to get every time. Like I've literally got you something different every single time I get you coffee.
You're absolutely right.
And I'm like, that goes with like,
you're so right.
And you're always,
I don't know why I even ask you what you want because you get the same thing, even down to the size.
I know.
Like you sometimes switch from hot to ice and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's wild. But you're so right. I'm always like, give me this special. Actually, ask the barista what her last thing was and then get me that. Like I'm the most stressful person to get coffee for.
But it goes with like your fashion, like everything. You're like, I don't know.
I like that parallel.
I don't know why I was thinking that this morning.
My parallel was going to be, okay, well then my coffee order, it's an acquired taste. Like at the Monstera, you're either going to love it and get it every single time and be like, this is the best coffee I've ever had. Or you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is way too much for me. I don't want this. It's overwhelming and now I'm about to have a heart attack. That is similar to how I would feel like my personality is. Yeah. It's an acquired taste. You might love it. but there's a risk there. And it might make you feel like your heart is going to explode and that you can't handle it anymore because it's just too much.
But only the best ones can survive.
I hope. But also it changes. Like maybe I'll have like a nice chai latte and stuff and be like a little bit, I don't know. That's a good
But you know what you would never get?
What?
A vanilla latte.
The funny thing is that used to be my go-to drink all the time. Like at Starbucks.
What happened?
I don't know. I got weird.
Oh, Starbucks. Yuck.
In my like olden days.
Starbucks.
Like whenever I used to always just grab a Starbucks drink. I think it's universally liked. Like I just know I would get it. So if I were getting coffee from somebody who I didn't know well enough to like give my actual
you would
weird
go with
order,
vanilla?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, just give me this.
See, but here's my thing. Urban Grounds is the only place I can get it not half sweet because they don't over sweeten their coffee.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, I'm like, it has to be like half sweet or even like one pump of syrup.
Yeah, like take whatever you would drink normally and like dial it way back.
Yeah.
Which I like black coffee. I would drink black coffee if that's what was available to me. But if I have the option for like a foo drink, I'm going to go with that instead.
Yeah. Black coffee is like my second or third coffee when I'm like, I can't do any more.
Yeah, your sweetness tolerance goes down for every cup that you drink.
Yeah.
And we have had this conversation before.
Yeah, we did talk about this last week.
I don't think it was on the podcast though.
Like,
but
you hate your coffee halfway through. You're like halfway and you're like, oh.
That happened to me yesterday. I made a coffee and I always feel bad because whenever I'm having my Nespresso, it's like $1.50 per pod or whatever it breaks down to. So I had my first one and then I had my second one. And then halfway through my second one, I was like, oh, I will vomit if I even smell this.
Yeah, it's too much.
And it always happens like that. Like I love it and it's the best thing I've ever tasted. It's like the nectar of the gods. And then hate it. Disgusting.
Out of nowhere. Yeah. Why does that happen? Mine like sits on the
sight.
counter for 1 second too long and I'm like, no.
I think maybe it's when it gets cold. Like whenever it starts to get a little bit cold, I'm
like
also
lukewarm. It has to be like burning my mouth hot.
Yeah. I think that's why I can't get any work done the first hour that I work from home because it's just me going to the microwave and back every 5 minutes to warm my coffee.
I know.
Which I could just get a mug warmer like I used to have, but anyways, not
But important. Then you'd have to like set it on the mug warmer.
And then and I like to hold it like a little like that character, like the divorced wife that's just like looking out the window like holding her coffee. You know what I'm talking about? No.
Do you put your this is a weird analogy.
Okay.
Do you put your finger, not analogy, thought through the mug and
I hold the handle.
Okay.
Like
I feel like guys do that.
Yeah.
I
hold it like a morning news anchor.
This is how Alex and guys hold their coffee. This is how Bre holds her coffee. Ready?
I hold it like this.
I hold it like that.
Ooh. But wouldn't that defeat the purpose of the handle? That's supposed to like to keep the heat off your hand.
I love my hand warm.
What if it's really hot?
Okay, well, I mean, if it's like burning my hand, then I'll hold it.
Sometimes I hold it like this. Like I walk around. It depends how wide the mug is because I don't have a big hand. But sometimes I'll just go over the top like that.
I'm glad we had our...
This was vital information to know about each other.
I mean, I don't know why, but I feel like that says something about
Hey, we couldn't have done this if we weren't visual right now.
I know. People wouldn't understand.
I want everyone to notice my shirt. It says dead inside. Sorry, but caffeinated.
So cute.
I got this off Shein whenever I got my fake Uggs.
I'm obsessed.
In case you're wondering. Yeah. I'm apparently...
You better wear it now.
I'm not a friend of the environment.
October is almost over.
I haven't worn it yet. And I guess I keep thinking Halloween's so far away. And then it's this weekend.
What are you doing?
Well, I have to work a wedding, which I'm actually very, very excited about because it's for a good friend of mine. And
wait, like you're doing BTS? Or
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm doing content for a wedding, I should have said. What if I was like, I'm catering?
I was literally like, who knows with you? This is like your coffee order. This is what I mean.
I'm going to derail again, but I've been sent 2 TikToks several times that people are like, this is you. The first one is by this guy who is always just doing little characters, and it's your unemployed friend who is always doing something random. And it's like the whole skit is like a FaceTime. And then he picks up and he's like, hey, yeah, I can talk right now. I'm not doing anything. I'm just like trying to climb up this mountain. And it's like random stuff like that. And I got sent that 4 different times with people being like, this is you. And I was like,
I need to see it.
I didn't think I did that much. I feel like I spend most of my time at home. Then the second one was your friend that's always trying to have a deep conversation when it's not appropriate.
This 100% you.
And I was like, I didn't know I did that. I kind of did, but I didn't realize it was that like prominent. But it was this guy at a bar and he's just like, so did you guys ever feel like you had like a really low point where no one was there for you? And how did you come out of it? And I got sent that 3 different times as well. And I was like, maybe I need to assess how I act in public situations. If this is how people perceive me, is always trying to have deep conversations.
So funny.
And also doing miscellaneous activities all the time.
I just think you're like willing to be like, hey, how are you doing? And like some people don't want to take that emotional baggage of other people on. They're like, I ain't asking. I'll be like that sometimes. I'll be like, I'm not going to ask them because I truly cannot take on anyone's stuff right now.
I go through phases. It depends how much stuff I have.
Yeah.
So we talked about this before we started recording. Yeah. I'm in a stage where I don't have a lot of baggage. I mean, knock on wood. I'm at a stage where I don't have a lot of my own personal baggage happening right now. And I feel like it's a good thing because I can be there for people who might have a little bit more on their plates. Huge. So that's my time of life that I'm in, where if somebody has something, I'm like, pile it on. I got room. I'm like, I can take this. I'm a covered wagon on the Oregon Trail of life.
We're good.
What is the disease they got? Not cholera, hay fever. I don't know. Put your diseases in your.
I love that. Yeah.
That video game.
Everything.
Put your baggage on me.
Yeah.
It's great. But 2 months ago, I would have been like, if you even tell me that you had a bad day today, I will cry.
Like if your throat hurts, I don't want to hear it.
I can't handle it.
Yeah.
Now I'm great. Now I'm more stable. But the thing is, I do want to have a deep conversation. I hate small talk. I don't care if I'm having a conversation like with the barista as she's making my drink and she's telling me about her divorce. I did have a weird time where I had 3 photo shoots consecutively over like a 2-day period. Like the only 3 that I had, all 3 of my clients cried to me about something that was happening in their life. Like we didn't actually really even shoot content, but we got derailed. We got to chatting and 3 people in a row cried. And I was like, you know, I'm kind of the common denominator here.
Yeah, like what's happening?
And I didn't really have to pry that hard, but I also am always willing to listen. Like I'm not.
Yeah, I get that way too. Like I think I've said this 80,000 times, or maybe I've just told you, but when I used to do derm surgery, my surgeon would make fun of me because it was typically like older people. And I'm like, oh, by the way, they were kind of emotional. Like they were just crying. And he's like, what is with you?
Like, how do
and
you know?
Everyone crying to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I just like listen. I don't know.
Well, you're a very good listener and everything. And I think that also the nature of your field now, people probably come in and you're the reprieve. Like you're the thing they've been saving up to treat themselves with, or it like maybe they just know about HIPAA and that you can't say anything. So they're like, I'm gonna tell you everything.
Or sometimes I wonder if people get nervous about getting like needles in their face.
So they just
they like nervously spill everything.
Oh, I do. I would spill it to you regardless. It's different because it's you. But like when I go to donate blood, I say so
craziest
much.
Things.
I talk faster. That's the peak of my speaking speed. Whenever I go to give blood,
crazy.
I get so nervous and I'll just start talking about whatever. Like the last time I gave blood, I found out that my phlebotomist, my little blood drawing individual, she had seen Fleetwood Mac whenever they were all still together. She saw like all my favorite bands. She saw Van Halen, Bon Jovi. Like we went through her entire history. She told me that she didn't go to college. She went on the road with a bunch of her friends. And they went on like this musical tour of the US in the 70s and 80s.
That is so fun.
Didn't go to college until she was like in her 50s and 60s. And she was like, no, I think I'm ready to settle down and have a career. Like I just kind of drifted through life. Now I'm going to do this. I was like, all because I couldn't shut up because I was nervous. Yeah. So I just kept asking questions.
Like, tell me about your life. I need to know everything. Yeah.
It was great.
I love that.
I'm hoping that the nerves go away at some point, but they haven't.
I mean, I think they will.
Well, needles are scary anyways. Botox doesn't bother me because it's tiny and you make it painless. It doesn't bother me at all. But giving blood, the needle is large. Have you drawn like donation blood ever?
Like given it personally?
Or like been the doctor or the phlebotomist? Because it's giant. The needle is like, what's the biggest size?
I've donated plasma.
That scares me.
Yeah, that was a low point in my life, okay?
Needed the money.
I was broke.
So I've been broke, but I had heard at some point that people that centers that you give plasma to, since they're not, they don't give it to a hospital since it's for research and they're paying you.
What?
They don't have to have the same
criteria?
Yes. For training and for cleanliness. That freaked me out. So basically,
oh my gosh, thank goodness I did not know this like 10 years ago.
So basically, if you go to a blood center that like that you don't get paid for it, you can get free t-shirts, or you can get life points or whatever else, like CBCO in Springfield. If you go to those places or a blood drive and you're not getting compensated, it's because they actually donate the blood to hospitals and it goes into surgeries and everything else. And because of that, they have to have you have to go through this 12-week course and they have certain,
I don't want to know any
testing
of this.
things.
I'm going to start not sleeping.
I know. The other side of it is if you went to a plasma donation center where they're going to pay you out for it.
Yeah.
You could go, I could go apply there and be drawing someone's blood in 3 days or plasma because they're paying you for it. So they don't have to have the same level of training for their people.
Good thing I was young and naive.
I know. That's why you see so many more people that will get a hematoma or have something wrong with their injection site is because you don't have to have a lot of training to do that.
I literally was think I did it 3 times and I was like, we're done.
I don't think I could do it. One of my friends gave plasma and she had a hematoma so big, her arm looked like she had a softball, and I was like, I think you should go to the ER. And I get so freaked out. One of my biggest fears is medical uncleanliness. Oh, so yeah. Couldn't do it. Couldn't be me. Mm-hmm. I would just be broke. I just wouldn't eat.
You know what's ironic? When I worked in the ICU, stuff like that didn't bother me as bad. I still would never, I know people that would go home and sleep in their scrubs. That makes me want to vomit.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have, like, I was like, meh, you know.
Yeah.
Now I'm a freak.
For me, it would be like that scene in like a horror movie where you're like in an old abandoned hospital with like a surgical, like a rusty scalpel coming at you. I would just pass away.
I
out
have
of sheer
cleanliness
terror.
issues, like, in general.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, staying in a hotel, that I have to have socks on. I get nervous to like shower in the shower. I'm weird about stuff.
Yeah, I'm less of a germaphobe than I probably should be, but it's medically that stuff gets me.
Like, just a little hypochondriac.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know
Fair
why.
enough.
But you know what? Would I eat off the ground? Possibly, depending on the food.
It's just for your immune system.
And the ground,
It's
depending.
just for your immune system.
Yeah. So more on that later. Okay, fun topic today.
Okay, I can't
Very
wait.
fun topic. That's why I'm wearing my seasonal shirt, even though this season is about to end. So we usually do our seasonal episodes in the thick of the season.
I know, but like, what happened?
I know, but we're also approaching the holiday season. So I figured what we should do is have this cumulative survival guide of tips for how to maximize the holidays.
I love this.
I have been researching, compiling, strategizing,
I'm obsessed.
overall just reflecting, like staring at the window with my hands behind my back, just
Learning.
just pondering. So I put together a list. So I would love to share it with you. If that's okay. Okay. So all the holidays, I think they start with Halloween and it ends with New Year's, right? That's like the general.
Yeah. That's like holiday season.
Yes. And it's the best time of
That's
year.
what we call cuffing season.
Cuffing season. If you're single, we are cuffed indefinitely.
Yeah.
So we don't unfortunately get to participate anymore.
No.
But I love to live through my single friends. Right now, my brother, who is single, who is like finishing up college.
I love this for him.
I'm like, you got to find somebody. And he's in the stage where he's like, I don't know if I want to date. I think I just want to like find a good person, like marry them. And I'm like, I would probably date
Like, so
first.
how does that work? Yeah.
He's like, I'm over it. Like, I don't want to play games. I don't want to do anything. I'm like, well, you know what? You can't just probably go up to a girl and be like,
do you want to get married?
But also that could be a good meet cute. Like, let's just do it. Maybe for like a romantic comedy, not like a real life thing.
But like, you need
But
to
it could
come
be
in,
good.
swoop in,
Yes.
and make sure.
Yes. Like I can see you like expedite the process. Cause I also feel like the older you get, the shorter the like dating period is.
Yeah.
He's only 22 though. So it's still like, you should still date a little bit. But the weird thing, he is the same age now that I was when I got married.
Is that not
And
blow
we're
your mind?
in such different
I was
life
thinking
stages.
about that for my younger brother. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, he literally, like, I will have been married a year by the time he turns 26 this summer.
That is crazy.
But I was talking to his girlfriend because they're pretty serious and I adore her. And I was like, well, you know, it's kind of like you and Zach, like you guys have been together a while. Because I was talking about how Alex and I dated a long time before we got engaged. She's like, well, we've only been together 2 years. I'm like, that's plenty of time.
Yeah.
What are we waiting on?
Well, I really do think like there's a sliding scale. If I had like a little whiteboard up here, I would draw it. But like if you're 16, 17, you should date for like 6 to 7 years.
100%.
If you're 20, 3 to
Couple.
4 years.
Yeah.
If you're 25, year to 2 years.
Yeah.
If you're
Max.
30, get married.
Go ahead.
Might as well.
Go get it.
What's the point? Because the reason is people, I think, change more the younger they are. So if you date someone at like 16, 17, you got to stick it out longer to see if you're going to like who they become.
I would even go so far to say it's like not even about like people. It is people changing, but it's people knowing themselves better.
That as well.
That's 100% where I think
Because
it's
you might be different. And also the likelihood that you know what you want is greater the older that you
Period.
get. So, and not to be cliche, but like you've probably done the single things that you want to do and like had your independence and everything.
Or should.
By that time. You should. You should have done
We
something.
should do
yeah.
that.
So by the time you're in your late 20s or 30s, you've probably, sown your wild oats or gone on your solo backpacking trip through Europe or whatever it is that you want to do. So you can settle down faster. Versus if when you're 20, it's like me getting married at age 22, trying to give advice about waiting, but
it
happens.
You're wise beyond your years.
Thank you. I'm old on the inside.
But don't you feel like, okay, so I was like looking at my brother and I'm like, he's such a baby. And I was like, I was literally married at this time. I know. But so do
That's
you
how I
look at
feel.
him and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, I was talking to Austin about it and just thinking like, it's so weird because I will always see him as my younger brother because he always will be. That's how time works and everything. But he can't catch up to me, but it feels like he's younger than I was. But I vividly remember being 22, about to get married and being like, I'm fully grown. Like I know all these things. And since getting married, I think I've not regressed, but I've been a lot more honest with myself about my limitations as far as knowledge and maturity and everything because I can recognize areas where I need to grow, which I think is maturing. But I remember being that age, and the year that I got married, we built a house, I quit my job and started my business and got married. Those are huge things. And not that there's anything wrong with him being in college right now because that is how most people are when you're 22 is you're in college. But it just seems so different because I remember being 22 and being in that life stage thinking that I was doing big, massive things and had all this stuff figured out. Looking back, I realized how much I actually didn't know and how much I was figuring out as I went through it and like would later realize I was doing something wrong or so on.
Right.
But it does seem different. And
it's crazy.
I'm sure
like, think about it. You're literally not even how old I was when I got married.
That's wild.
And I feel like I got married a lifetime ago.
I know. That is so strange to think about. But I feel like we're the same age though. So it does seem time is not as important, or age is not as important as life stage.
I agree. But it also is like a good reminder, like you can start and do things anytime. Like you don't have to be 22 to start a business. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be 25 to start a business. Mm-hmm. Like anytime.
Oh yeah. Which that would be a really good thing to talk about because I love hearing stories about like, I think Oprah didn't start doing TV until she was 42 or something. And now she's a household name. We could go off on that forever.
Yeah, that could be a whole, we'll put a pin in that.
Yeah, stick a pin in it.
We'll bring it that back.
But also think about how weird it is. Like you and I wouldn't have been friends if I was 15 and you were 20. That would not have ever worked.
Yeah,
That's
right.
weird.
Yeah.
You would have been in college.
Or even 16 and 21.
No, it wouldn't have worked at all. Or if you were 18 and I was 13, like weird.
Oh
but now we're like in the same stage of life and
I know.
Everything is similar.
I know.
It is very strange how that happens. But also I want to note that whenever I was 22 and getting married, like I had been out of college for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like I was just like done. And there's nothing wrong with that for those of you who have done that. But for me, I felt like I had done what I wanted to do. And it was the natural point for me. Like I joke about being a child bride, but that was exactly what I wanted. And I'm happy that I did what I did.
So far, so good.
We disclaim like people are going to pick apart what we say. Like we disclaim everything.
I feel like I know, but that honestly, I think that's like the generation in the world we live in because you can cancel people at the drop of a hat.
And on the off chance that this ever blows up and people are like,
oh, I don't want to offend anyone. This is just like literally, it was so funny because I was posting on Instagram for work and I was like, people aren't talking about this yet, but like conservative looks are always in. Like I think more people are going to lean more towards skin health, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And at the end I was like, P.S. These are just my personal thoughts. I saw that. Because I was like, I don't want people to come for me. Like, this is not facts, y'all. Yeah. I'm just like putting my opinion out there.
It's wild though. People are looking to pick fights. Like I had a video go viral on TikTok 2-3 weeks ago. And it was about, not to bring up Marvel for the second episode in a row, but it was about the
something I know nothing about.
It was about this movie specifically. And it was basically something happened on October 3rd in that universe. October 3rd is also Mean Girls Day because it's like on October 3rd, he asked me what day it is.
It's October 3rd.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everyone says like, oh, it's Mean Girls Day. So I made this post and I was like, why is everyone saying that October 3rd is Mean Girls Day when it's literally the day that X, Y, and Z happened? And not that I'm hiding, spoiling it, as if you're ever going to watch them.
You just know that I will
I won't watch them,
clue what's happening.
In case anybody else hasn't. And also I posted about it, so it doesn't really matter, but whatever. So then I posted this thing, like this is what happens.
What's funny is I saw this and I had no idea what you were talking about, so I just kept going.
Like I said, you would have to be so entrenched in the lore of the MCU that to care about it. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I know you see my stuff and you're just like, and move on. You're like 70% of this does not apply to me at all.
No, I'm like, I love you.
Yeah, but
you're doing great, sweetie. But I know nothing.
So supportive, and I will always love you for that. The same thing is whenever you post about motherhood, and I'm always like, I don't get it, but I love it for you. But I got predominantly other nerds that were commenting that were like, yes, I was thinking the same thing, whatever. And then I got a handful of people that were like, there's nothing wrong with Mean Girls Day. Like, this is totally fine. Why are you making either or? I was like, girl, I was kidding. Like, I was so joking. It was,
come on.
I also love Mean Girls. I love both. I think it's great. But I was making,
but like also this is my personal platform and I'm allowed to post my own opinions.
It's a joke.
Because that's the thing about like, okay, this is my last thought, then we'll move on to our
back
topic.
to the topic
that's
that I introed.
Thing about social media. It's like, oh, this is personal. It's my own opinion. This is my platform. It's like, no, it's not, sis.
Yeah.
You better be agreeing with everyone
Apparently
else around you.
Yeah.
Or we're going to pick fights.
And I'm not a confrontational person, but I love to say, I mean, for lack of a better term, stupid shit.
Yeah.
So I love to just say,
like, get people going.
And sometimes I post dumb things like, and they're funny to me. Like last night I posted a selfie. It was a grainy, not good selfie. And I said, like and subscribe if I should clean my mirror. Doesn't make any sense. It was a joke. It's not funny unless you just like read it in my dumb voice. That's what 90% of my posts are like the tone of. But sometimes I think people don't get it. Like I never mean to post something and be like
hurtful
cynical.
Or like, yeah.
But I just think it's funny. So I post that way.
It's like when people are like, is this a good time to post? I'm like, I don't even know. Like, who cares? This is my personal Instagram. Yeah. I don't even care.
The only time my posts go up at a reasonable time is if I very specific set of circumstances. If I have taken a flight recently, which means that I went through and I edited all my pictures because I clean up my camera roll on the flight.
That too. We are one and the same.
And then I will save them in my drafts. And sometimes I'll schedule them out because I'm like, I'm going to forget to post it if I don't schedule it. Love. So if I ever post like 3 days in a row, just know that it was scheduled because I didn't actually, I didn't think to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll schedule it for like 7 p.m. I'm like at someone's wedding and a post goes up. It was scheduled.
Do you love how like New York Bre posted every day?
I was so happy.
She comes back.
I live for your content.
Nothing.
No, I wish
nothing's been posted.
Bre, if you let me follow you around all the time, because you always look great and bougie.
That's really nice.
It's just that you're not the kind of person like if you saw how many pictures of myself just get deleted, because I'll be in like the Aldi $3 aisle or the Aldi finds aisle, 0.5 selfie, no matter what I'm doing, all the time. And only about 40% of what I take makes it.
That's a good chunk.
To the light of day.
That's a good little chunk.
That's because I'm shameless though, and because I have started to care less about like
we don't care
how I look online. But anyways, do you want to go back to the topic?
Moving right along.
Sorry, everybody. You're seeing in real time just like the gears turning here. But listen, I would challenge anyone to have a conversation with one of their besties and not derail for 50 minutes.
The whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And also, this is the first time that we're recording without having an active timer. We don't know how long we're talking for.
No.
We're just going with our guts
so
this
if it's
time.
too short, sorry. If it's too long,
not sorry either.
Put it on like 2 times speed and see if you can understand us.
See if Godspeed. If you're trying to understand us on 2x speed. Okay. So here's the type of thing that I'm wanting to go over.
Okay.
Making a realistic bucket list, because you're not going to do everything that you say that you're going to do.
I know.
Because I always go through and we'll say like, I'm going to go ice skating with my friends. I'm going to make a gingerbread house. I'm going to have a movie night with all my girls. We're going to watch Hallmark movies and chit chat. We're going to do one of those nights where everyone has a different holiday cocktail.
Cute.
So cute. You're going to do one of those 4 things.
I know.
So, and then you end up like for me, and this is partly me because I live and die by Pinterest, where I will make a Pinterest board. I'll make a bucket list knowing there's limited time in the season.
Yeah. It's and like 8 people saying we're going to do a Friendsgiving. You're like, yeah, never happens.
Which I've done a Friendsgiving every year since I had an apartment, which is, I'm proud of myself for doing that.
That's huge.
I don't think I want to host this year though, because
it's a lot.
Usually I host. I think this year I would like someone else to host when I could show up to one. That's the goal. And also it's hard because then you drag all the husbands in and they're not friends. Like they're like cool with each other, but then you have to, I don't know. I don't think I would like to attend someone's Friendsgiving. Yeah. So if you guys host one,
no,
maybe we'll do like a neighbor's one. It's just the 4 of us.
Honestly, it's too hard with my birthday.
Yeah, that's true. And you'll be gone. So like, and then returning.
I know.
So why don't we just have dinner with the 4 of us and call it Friendsgiving?
Love. Okay, that's on the bucket list.
That could be good. Okay. Also, not to derail again. Brie, I listened to one of our old episodes because I was giving myself perspective on my chaotic season. Like I was reflecting back. So I listened to an episode like during the thick of that. And
I'm nervous what you're going to say.
No, just we had talked about watching a movie together. We're like, oh, we should watch that around Halloween. Like get wine and watch this movie.
What was it?
The movie Fresh with Sebastian Stan.
Oh.
That everyone should see. And you're like, yeah, I could be into that. And I was like, we never did that.
No, I was thinking that.
And will we? Probably not.
Probably not. No, Halloween's over. Listen.
Yeah. By the time this comes out, it will be over.
Yeah.
So this will come out. Yeah. This will come out
the day after.
Yeah. On November 1st. So that's perfect timing for this. But all that to say, my goal for myself, and that I think would make everyone happier, is if you have a more realistic bucket list for the holiday season. Like pick your top 10 total things.
Oh my gosh.
I'll make a bucket list of 30 plus items that I want to do.
But like what's going to land?
Yeah. So think about realistically your schedule, what you and your friends like to do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a good point.
And to piggyback off of that, pick the dates early.
That's the one key. Like you literally have to now schedule things out like weeks.
Oh yeah. The Twilight movie night that my friends and I just had, 7 weeks in advance. 7 weeks. Because we don't have any free weekends, like between people needing to get babysitters and people working on weekends.
I think weekends are the hardest thing.
Weeknights are great.
Well, for us.
I mean, I'm spoiled because
we're 12 houses down.
True. But I'll be like, can we do something at 11 a.m. on Wednesday? Are you free? Can we get coffee? That's my ideal situation.
I know.
I sometimes forget the traditional like need evenings and weekends to make plans because of the demands of a 9 to 5.
See, I'm like, do you want to come over after my kids go to bed?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know what I mean? Because like that's when it's going to work for me.
Yeah, which is great.
I'm like, let's do a Friday.
Which we should do more.
I know. I'm like, let's do a Friday game night after my kids go to sleep.
Do you like games?
We love games.
Why have we never talked about it? Okay, you know what I want to do?
Does Austin?
We love games. Have you ever played Buzzword or Taboo? I forget which one it is. Where there's like the card and then you'll have a word at the top of it, like Botox. And then you have 5 words underneath it that you can't say. And the words would be like injector.
You describe it?
Yes. So you can't say like the 5 closest words to it. And then you have to describe it. Like,
I think we've played that with my family. But you know what
so
game?
fun
You know
for
what
couples.
game makes me feel like you?
What?
That
Crazy.
I love to play?
What is it?
Catan.
We love it.
I know.
And you know who else loves it?
Who?
Our other neighbors 2 houses down.
Stop.
I'm not going to name drop, but should we have a neighborhood Catan night? And then we'll have extra sets of hands to watch children.
Yes,
So-
ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and plan that out.
We need to get back
right
to
now.
holiday bucket list.
Yeah, sorry guys. Okay, so that's my goal. I haven't made a bucket list yet, and I imagine that once we do make a bucket list, that will be another episode because I love to talk about the holidays more than anything in the entire world.
know.
I love to just drench myself in
I
the
do
season.
feel like it's sneaking up this
It
year,
is.
though. I don't know if I feel like everyone I've talked to in the office too was like, I can't believe it's almost November. I'm kind of freaking out, and I'm like, yeah.
Well, partly because we were chatting about our podcast party, which will be on November 9th. So 9 days from when this episode comes out, a week from the day after this episode comes out for those who listen on the drop day. But it snuck up on both of us. We kept thinking like, oh, the anniversary's coming up. It's
We
coming
got
up.
plenty of time.
We don't. It's
Yeah.
in 2 weeks, which is it's so exciting, but so crazy. And I'm like the fact that the year's almost over and people are talking about 2024.
Well, the fact that we've made it a year.
I know. I'm proud of
us.
Well, we'll reflect on that again in the future. We're just dropping like tidbits for future episodes here, but it has flown by. And that's why I think it's so important to be intentional. Like pick out the dates now, even if you don't plan specifics. Like say you want to have a movie night with your friends, pick a date and just throw it on the calendar. Pick out who's hosting and times and snacks later, but just get it on the calendar because if not, you'll book everything up and forget to make time for it.
I know, it just never happens.
No, and it's very sad.
And it becomes tough.
Or then you try and manufacture it like the week of Christmas and you're like, oh, I have to fit all this stuff in.
Yeah.
And
And
then
it becomes stressful. That's my biggest thing this year. I'm like, I'm not going to let the holidays become stressful. And if you're married or in a relationship, you know that like splitting time
It's hard.
gets tricky.
Very
so like
hard.
Alex and I, like literally when October hits, I'm like, let's start game planning.
Yes.
Because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I just want to be
Yeah.
like, these are our plans. And then that way
It's
we
very
can
hard.
fill in with friends.
Yes.
Because we also really are social and like love to be with our friends.
And it's difficult too if you don't have like your kids have to come first and your memories that you're making with them and everything. So if you don't have it planned out, then you're gonna pick your kids. So,
well, for sure.
Like if you want to do something for yourself, like even with just Alex, then
Yeah.
you got to plan in advance.
Yeah.
So otherwise, because I'm so guilty of thinking like I want to do this thing, and then Sunday night I'm like, we got groceries at home for this. I'm like, you just plan it out without thinking to factor in those things that you want to do.
Yeah.
So you just get so, I guess, used to your routine that you forget to factor in the laundry list of other items that you've wanted to do outside of it. So
Well, that's why I think it's a good point to maybe decide amongst your friend groups or whoever you want to do this with, like what's the most important thing? Like, would we rather do the cocktail night?
Yes.
Or do we want to like make gingerbread houses?
and sometimes you have to like decide what you're okay with missing.
yeah.
Because if you have a friend group of even 5, there's a very, very low likelihood that you're all 5 going to be available for all 5 or all the activities.
yeah.
So if you had to pick like, okay, so Bre, do you want to make it to this more than this? Like which night, you know what I mean? So you got to really sit down and do it. It's
Yeah.
like you got to have like a whiteboard and a marker and like you're drafting off the activities.
Literally.
Also, you might not care. Like you don't have to go to all the activities that you don't want to do. I used to be bad about doing that. Like everything that I was invited to, I'm like, I don't want to carve pumpkins.
yes,
I
girl.
hate carving pumpkins, but I have to go because that's what we're doing. I don't carve pumpkins. I would paint pumpkins.
Yeah, we
maybe.
painted. Yeah, we painted.
I
Well,
didn't do
not we,
anything
my
this year.
kids.
Yeah, that was messy.
If
I'm
you
sure.
see the 2 pumpkins that are literally throwing off the entire aesthetic on my front porch,
You're so brave.
I know I'm a good mom.
You are such a good mom. you're like putting them away when no one's
You're
looking.
literally like my OCD. Alex is like
Yeah.
looking at me like as I'm putting them on the front porch.
And you're like eyes
I'm
twitching.
like just a little splash
Yeah.
of our kids,
You're
but
like, I love it so
I know.
much.
You know what? No, I'm doing better. Like I really, honestly, my environment and like my home
Yeah.
is so important to me. But when it comes to my kids, I'm like, okay, fine. We can put the ugly
Yeah.
painted dish right on the counter in the
Yep.
kitchen.
I'm sure the
But I
moms can
love
relate
it.
to that.
I love
Like
it.
everything in your house is perfect. Then you've got the bright ass like Fisher Price
Yes.
barn.
Yeah.
in the middle.
Stick it. Like, yeah, there's whole TikToks made about it. But
Sad beige baby. Core.
poor baby.
I know. I'm like, come on, it's fine. If it makes mom less stressed, doesn't matter.
Well,
if
now
your,
that
if
I
your
have
kid
2
develops,
girls, everything's pink.
yeah, that's a vibe.
Love that.
It's a Barbie dream house.
Yeah.
it's a good thing you have a boy would throw everything
I
off.
know.
Ugly,
I'd be very, very
destructive, and sticky.
like truly dirty.
Pray for boy moms.
Yeah.
Okay, next item is Okay, I did already say that. Put things in the calendar. Yeah. Okay. So find enjoyable downtime, because I am notorious for like, okay, I want to enjoy the holiday season. I plan out activities every single night. Some of the best parts of the holiday season would be just like sitting in your home.
Drinking hot chocolate.
Well, yeah, Christmas tree lights on, drinking a hot chocolate, reading a book, or just like having a nice scroll on your phone. Like just enjoying what you've made around your house. And that's something that I never think to put on my bucket list. Like just enjoying those nights at home.
I think like as a society, we want to show off like all the activities we're doing. And like even as like a mom culture, we want to show off all the activities we're doing with our kids. But
Y'all
like
are competitive.
it gets wild out there. But sometimes like it's okay to be like, you know what I'm going to do this holiday season is not be as busy.
Yes. Bre, did you take a peek at the notes?
No,
my gosh.
What's funny is Hannah sat like her laptop there, y'all, and she's like, perfect, I can read it. And I was like, you can? Because I can't read that.
There's the difference between 25 and 30.
Literally.
I
couldn't even read that if I tried.
I did have to make it like headline size or whatever. What is it? Yeah, headline. Whatever.
I don't know. If I
Title
really,
size.
really tried, I could, but my astigmatism, my eyes would start like.
Oh no. You'd think my eyes would be worse for the amount of time I spend with a screen this close to my face.
Do you have glasses?
I used to. I had glasses whenever I was a kid.
Does Austin? I don't know why I'm intrigued. Like you guys have to have the same thing. But
he has
but
glasses.
he's old.
He is.
He's right up
also
there
turning 30
with me.
He turns 30 in March, but he has glasses, but he only wears them at night because he struggles more with like driving at night.
So I wonder if he has he has astigmatism really bad.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he doesn't need them.
I don't need them either.
It also helps him to, if he wore them more, I think it would help him, but he doesn't want to wear them all the time.
That's me. Ding.
They look cute on you though.
They're like only use them when you're reading, when you're looking at a screen, when you're watching TV, when you're charting for your patients, and when you're driving at night.
That's all I do.
I'm like, but my job, I'm with people, so I don't really wear them.
That's true. But you look cute in them. I look nerdy in mine. I have blue light glasses. I don't look cute in my glasses.
Those are cute though.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Anyhow.
I mean, I could just buy different ones because they're $18 on Amazon
That's
maximum. Or you could buy a 4-pack for $8 like I've done in the past, and it's just glass. It's not blue light. Don't be fooled. They're not, cute though. Anyways, so I'm hoping to enjoy more time and just
downtime.
Again, to piggyback off of myself because I
to bring it right back to what I was saying. To bring it
right back to me. I want to make time to take the extra steps.
Yeah, I love that though.
Do you ever? Oh, I'm not going to light the candles. I'm not going to do all this stuff because I'm only home for a couple hours.
Yes.
That's what I'm changing.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
I'm going to take the extra step to light all 18 candles. You've seen my house.
Yeah, I love it.
It looks like a seance with all the candles that I have.
You know what though? You do that while
I could summon a spirit.
Do it.
You're right. I won't be able to do it whenever I have small hands.
Yeah.
So right now I'm going to do, even though I'm as much of a fire risk as
truly
as your 2-year-old is with how clumsy I am. But anyways, I want to take the extra time. Like I'm going to put the Christmas music on, the ambient music. I'm going to go ahead and take the extra time. I always take the time to make a coffee, but light the candles. Even if I'm only working from home for a couple hours, like this morning, I only had a little bit of time before I had to leave, but I'm going to make it nice. What's the point of not doing it?
I did it this morning too. It was kind of like dreary. And I was like, you know what? I am going to light the candle. I lit my fall candle. It's getting back to, and we get away from this so easily with like busyness, but like romanticizing your life.
Yes, exactly.
And I know that's so oversaid now, but it's so true. It is so true to like keeping little like pockets of happiness.
I agree. Because if you don't make small things a big deal, you're going to find so many fewer times to be that happy.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's goofy to be like, oh, I'm so excited. Like I've got an hour this morning. I'm going to light my candle. I'm going to put on whatever fall playlist. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, have my coffee in the back patio. None of those things are groundbreaking in the slightest, but they are so special if you choose to believe, like if you make them special.
I love that.
Because if not, it's the same thing with little celebrations. I love to make everything a thing. If you don't, where's the line? Like I would rather have a line so low for what is worth celebrating versus like, wait, I want everything to be celebratory.
Yeah.
So even if it's stupid, even if I'm at the Dollar Tree all the time buying little things for my
I love that.
miscellaneous celebrations, why not? Life is too short. So celebrate more.
We can end it right there, period.
Celebrate more things.
I love that.
But that is my goal. And also for me, the struggle is slowing down. And you might not have the luxury as much. My need to slow down is mainly mental. I don't have, it's not necessarily demanded from my life that I go 110 miles an hour, but that's just more of how I operate, like all the time.
Yeah.
And I busy myself too much.
Well, because we think our worth is found in like what we're doing.
Yeah. And
constantly.
Part of it is just like the way that I am wired, I guess. But part of it is that I'm trying to break that habit of like constant busyness. I know that it's different for you because you have
no, but even
lives too.
I was thinking that when I got back from my dad's, went straight to work. I'm like, I really could have chosen to let myself rest. Like no one's giving me a round of applause because I decided to hop off a plane and go straight to my office.
Yeah. You don't get an award because you watch less TV. Sorry.
Kim, Chloe, whoever.
Yeah. But that's true. Like
true.
But you put that expectation on yourself. And I know that it wasn't because you were doing it for egocentric reasons. You were doing it because you want to be there for your clients and be accessible to them, which is commendable. But why is it necessary to go at that pace? You know, like would it have been the end of the world?
Or could I given myself permission to be like, you know what? I'm already like, I don't even get in till 10. Like, let's just take the day. Because if I was thinking, I'm like, if I worked a 9 to 5, I would have taken the day off.
Yes. You wouldn't have gone in.
Negative.
So why have the luxury of working for yourself if you can't even have
and then pushing myself so much that I'm like, I gotta go in right at noon to get people, you know.
Yeah. And I guarantee nobody would have been like, you can't do my lips today. You just got off a flight.
Like I know you got up at like 4:50, but like you can't come in
and that's the thing that I have to humble myself with sometimes is I'm like, I don't save lives. I do social media for a living. So there's nothing that's that important.
Well, I feel that way with mine now.
Yeah.
Like, it's your boat.
You did actually used to work in the ER, so you have something to compare to.
I see you. I only correct you because we're two different types of people.
Right. I appreciate you correcting me. We used to work in life and death situations.
True. Facts. Period.
So now you're like, would it be the end of the world if I didn't get my Botox? Yes. For everyone else, though,
I get it.
Probably
Trust
not.
me.
Probably not.
This time of year kind of is for people.
Yeah.
Because they're like, girl.
Which, if anyone's been thinking about getting Botox, this is the time to do it before the holidays. Like, if you want to look snatched at your family reunion, it's not going to kick in for a couple weeks. So you're 10 days-ish.
No, but like,
I shouldn't be speaking
if you
on
want it to last for Thanksgiving and Christmas,
make your appointment, girl.
Now's your time.
Ladies,
this is it.
Plug.
If you've been looking for a sign, this is it.
I'll be there if you want to come with me. I'll make another video. It'd be good.
You just like bring 5 people in with you?
I would.
I love it.
It'd be a fun activity. I've got all the time in the world, guys. Let's do it. Okay, next. Find a few staple beverages and stick to them because I try all the specials.
I was like, where are we going with this?
This is talking to me, not to you. So I have this habit of I'm like, I'm going to try every single new fall beverage. I do in the
Christmas time.
But then sometimes you don't like them and you're wasting it.
So sad, but I do at Christmas time.
That's why I say try some. Try like a 5, 6.
This is a quick 180 from last year when you're like, we're trying every single
here's bevy. This is growth because I learned. I tried so many of them and I'd be like, it's not for me. And then I'm not enjoying it. So I'm almost like, I want to get a couple that I enjoy and then rotate those, keep those in like
do like that.
My starting 5, if you will. Yeah. I don't need like a 40-man roster. That's a baseball reference. Alex would get it. I just need like 5 solid ones that I can alternate.
Your starters.
Yeah. So I need to be more like you. Where like I have my staple ones versus trying new things all the time.
I'm like 80% vanilla latte, 20% like,
something new.
Let's try something new.
Yeah. I aspire to be that way. Maybe not that ratio.
Wait till you're 30. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you're right. I should be just out here trying all the beverages.
I don't think it matters.
No, I'm not. I need to be more monogamous with my coffee items is what I'm saying. Like 5.
How does this come back to coffee? This is so, but like.
There's only 2 things that I really like talking about and it's Marvel and coffee. So if I can find a way to bring it back, I will. That's all.
You should make a Marvel coffee shop.
Imagine if I just had like a Twitch stream. Do you know?
I would never go. I'm not gonna lie.
You wouldn't.
I'd be like, this is not for me.
It would be so overwhelming for you. It would be like my office on steroids.
I think I'd hate it.
Yeah, you would hate it.
I love you so much.
I know.
I think I'd hate it.
And I appreciate the honesty because you would hate it. You would never want to go.
I know.
It would be a lot of high school boys that hadn't kissed girls. And then me. And it would be exactly like what happened that I told you about whenever someone asked me on a date and I thought he was just actually.
Yes, that's what I'm envisioning. They're like doing trading of like, I don't even know.
I don't know what
like cards or something.
I'm not that nerdy. If I were into it, I would be. Yeah. Actually, never mind. Anyways.
Comic books? I don't know.
Brie, I have those on my wall. You know I do. Okay, so I went to Barnes & Noble and I actually found out they make novels based on the plot of comic books. And I didn't know that because I hadn't been to Barnes & Noble in forever because I just now got back into reading. But they will take like the entire storyline of a whole season of comic books. And I like them, but I don't love them because they don't progress fast enough for me. So like I want to read it. They make those. So I just bought like 4 books based on the plot
what I love
of comic
about
books.
You?
What?
You read one book and you're like, so I'm at Barnes & Noble now.
I read one.
Like 0 to
seriously, 1 book this year. I'm like, I'm a reader.
Yeah.
I've been on 4 runs. I'm like, I'm in my running era. Everything is different for me.
No, this is amazing.
It's because I can't go halfway into things.
I know. I love it.
I'm drowning in it.
You're like, I've been spending time at Barnes and Noble
Or
now.
I don't care. Like prior to that, I read one book whenever I was in Florida because my sweet, sweet sister-in-law thought that I would want a book and she brought me a book.
Oh my gosh.
And I read it while I was there.
Love her.
Prior to that, hadn't read a book in 18 months.
That makes me sad for you.
Maybe I have. I've read a couple, but not consistently. So we're going to move on from that.
Yeah.
Okay. I bought your birthday gift.
I know. You're stressing me out.
Last part of it.
I'm not last part of it.
Yeah. Well, there's like multiple things in it. It's not just like one thing. And it's cute.
I've been getting nervy because I keep wondering, like, this is weird. It pops up at random times. I'm like, I wonder what Hannah got me because she said she already got it. And like, I like to be a good gift giver too. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like,
It's not crazy extravagant, but it's like personal.
I know.
And I try and have things where there's like a funny aspect and then there's like a sentimental aspect and then something that you would like use. So it depends on like how, you know, that's kind of how I went for it. I think it's good. I think it's a good gift. Okay. I cut so drastically to reel myself back in because I'm trying to be better about it. So here we go.
It's harder because now like the people can watch us.
I know.
Like before we could be like, hey, we're getting really off topic.
And
like,
we can be like, yeah. Now we can't.
No.
And I'm trying to be conscious about everything. And I know I'm going to be editing this and being like, Bre, we got to stop doing whatever.
It's going to be worse. You're going to be like, what?
Like, do I really sit like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So
reposition.
You look great. Set boundaries with family early.
Oh, already talked about it. Period. Yeah.
You can't be everywhere all at once. You're going to let somebody down. Unfortunately, you can't make everything. And when there's other parties involved, for example, me, my husband, then my sister-in-law, there's her family, there's my family, and there's my in-laws, just to consider for our family stuff. You know, so it's like
you look at someone like my family. My parents are divorced and remarried.
And we got the easy side.
Yeah.
Because all of our parents are still married.
Yeah.
So that's still 3 different sets of things that have to be considered just to make one family thing happen. So I would say if there's important things to you, and you can speak to the kids part.
Yeah.
Because you can't be dragging your kids all over the place. It's not good for them either.
No. And you want to make traditions like in your own family unit. Like you and Austin, me, Alex, and our kids. Like there are things that I like put a hard stop to.
Do you have tips for setting boundaries when it comes to your...
You know, I think my biggest tip is like to be on the same communication point as your spouse or your significant other. And that is not always easy. I think that it's sitting down and being like, hey, like what is super crucial to you? Is it Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Is it Christmas Day? Is it
What's
church?
yours?
So Alex and I are always been opposite. Like his family does everything on Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. My family always did like, they all get together on Christmas Eve and like go to service, open majority of the gifts on Christmas Eve. Yeah. That whole thing. My family's the opposite. We opened one gift. It was typically like jammies. Oh. And we'd go do something. As we got older, we'd go to like a Blackhawks hockey game or like Chicago Bulls basketball game. Like we went and
That's
did
a really cool
something.
tradition.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Cool. Mine would be like watching The Grinch.
Well, we did that too when we were younger. But as we got older, and I'm talking like literally like have graduated high school, we'd like go to fun events together as siblings and like a small family.
Because that starts to mean more the older you get versus
it's fun to spend time together.
Yeah.
And then we would like, you know, like as we were all older, like make a drink, hang out together, play games, that kind of thing. And then like Christmas morning, my mom always made like a huge brunch. It depended like when we went to church, whether that was like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, whatever that landed on, or even like prior. And we made like a huge brunch and like opened gifts and like just spent time together. And then sometimes at that point would go see our other immediate family. The kicker is with my husband, like that worked out great. Like perfect. We do Christmas Eve with his, we do Christmas Day with mine, but his family's an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And so then once kids got involved, it started getting like hard of like, what do we do?
Yeah.
So we're still working through that. I don't think we have a perfect answer. I just think communicate early. Ask like your significant other what their big ones are. Like, hey, how important is it to you that we do this? And like, would you be willing to compromise? And kind of like set your own family boundaries, goals, etc., and just stay strong in it.
Yeah, it's really tough. Like as for this being my second holiday season, or I guess my third holiday season married, I don't know how to count. It's fresh still. Yeah. We're working through it, but Thanksgiving has always been my big one because that's when both sides of my family will come together. Like my parents are together, but my mom's parents and then my grandma on my dad's side. So all of my living grandparents will come to the same Thanksgiving, which is such a blessing. So that's always my big one because I'm like, I get to see all the sides on one versus Christmas is kind of split between two. Yeah. So rather than having to choose between which Christmas, I'd rather have Thanksgiving with everybody. Yeah. So that's kind of how we do it. And it's changing a little bit this year because we've got family in from out of town. So right when you get into a groove, you're like thrown for a new loop again.
Well, yeah, that's the thing,
that's
right?
how it is.
Like you're always adjusting.
And there's that notion of like, this works now, but when we have kids, it's going to be different again, because then you have to switch that side of it, because you again want your own traditions and all of that. So I don't think it's ever perfect, but just know that we identify with all of the wives this season that are trying to make the plans for their whole family.
Yeah.
And then their husband's like, oh, I forgot to tell you that my mom made this plan for us and I forgot. And you're like, well, I just finished the 6-week itinerary.
Yes, and like you don't want to fight with them. No. That's the biggest thing. Like I remember early on in like my marriage and then relationship with Alex, like we'd start to butt heads around this time of year. Yeah. And then we were always frustrated because we both want the other one to be happy, but then like you kind of want to do your family thing and he wants to do his family thing.
And it's sad because it's like the holidays and you want to be with your family. And there's like, even no matter how much I love my family on Austin's side, like my in-laws and my sister-in-law is like one of my best friends.
Oh, for sure.
It's so great. Like I'm very fortunate with the family.
You're cutting that like childhood tie.
Yeah. But then there's still always a moment, like whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or Christmas Eve, that you're sitting there and you're just like, this isn't my family. Like I love them, but it's still like you want to be with your siblings.
It's very hard.
In your childhood home and all of that. So it is.
I think once you have kids, for whatever reason, it becomes easier because you're like, oh my gosh, this is our family now. Like this is us. Like this is, and not that you don't care about like your other family, but like you start to be like, this is our family unit. And that made things a little bit easier. And I felt like it helped like parents not feel they're like, well, you know, they do have a family now. But yeah, I remember my first Christmas married. I cried.
Yeah, it was.
I
don't know if I cried. Well, I cried on Thanksgiving.
I literally did
because I caught a sweet potato casserole on fire. So I did cry my first Thanksgiving, but for different reasons. Yeah, but it was more. It definitely is emotional.
I struggled. Like I have 3 siblings. There's 4 of us total. Like my parents were separated, so we were shuffled back and forth, but we always had each other. So being away from them, I was kind of like, and it's not that I don't love my in-laws.
No, and especially if they're all together and you're the odd person out.
Yes, I was just like, this is so crazy. Like I want to be with everyone. Like this is really hard. And they were all doing their own thing that year too. But
I think I had a sweet moment because I had moved back home before I got married because I was like, I want to pay off the last bit of like any debt that I have.
That's
like,
amazing.
I want to get it all out of the way. So I moved back home for that year. And at first I was like, this is going to be the worst thing ever. But it was so special because it was my brother's senior year of high school. And it was like the last time I ever got to live with them and like go back after being on my own for a couple of years and have like one last holiday season and one last Thanksgiving and like waking up in that house.
Yeah, you take it for granted.
Yeah. And I didn't think I would appreciate it. And even now it's like, I would not change waking up next to my husband for the world. But there's also something so nostalgic about waking up in your parents' house.
Well, no one else knows what it feels like but your siblings. They're the only other person that's like, wow, I literally know
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why it's so special now that my brother and I are getting closer that he's, you know, able to have a coherent conversation, which
maturing and
is difficult for a younger brother. Yeah. But getting to have that adult relationship with him and like talk about our parents and experiences growing up and like, I didn't know you noticed that too. Just different things. Like it's so, it's a great friendship to have.
It's wild.
Okay. I'm trying to cherry pick because I was lengthy if you couldn't tell. This is what you were saying. So cut out anything that can be cut out before the holidays because things are going to get crazy enough. Basically, I forget to accommodate for everything else I'm taking on.
Yeah.
Because think about it. You're a mom, extra level, but you're going to be buying Christmas presents.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole job on its own.
Yeah.
Wrapping Christmas presents, decorating the house. There's all the obligatory like, oh, I need to go to this Christmas party and so-and-so's gift exchange, everything. So if you can, there's anything you can trim down.
Say no early.
Yeah.
And I read that was like reading that this is a poor social cue or like not even social cue, but like, I don't even know, you'd know the right word. But like, don't say yes to something knowing you cannot make it happen or cannot go just to later on right before be like, sorry, this came up. Like, just say no early.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm so sorry. I would love to be there. Unfortunately, we can't make it this season.
Yeah. Just anticipate
and be done
schedule.
with it.
Yeah.
So then you're not carrying the stress of like, how am I going to tell him I can't
You're delaying it. Like you're just kicking the ball down the field. Like let's just not. Let's just.
And it's okay.
I don't know if I can swing it. Or if you say like, if I can make it, I'll be there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. Like go ahead and put it on that side. Like probably not. Would love to, but.
Or just like, hey, sorry, plan on me not being there. Like, I don't think it's going to happen this year for us. Yes. But if something happens to where I can make it, I will absolutely be there for that.
Which is great. So definitely, if there's something you like, if you've got, I don't know, you're doing an extra book club or you're doing something else and it's just going to add one thing to your plate. Like maybe it's time to take a hiatus from that during this time. Like
I also
if
think like delegate. So like if it's like, if it's something with my husband's family and I'm always in charge of like, responding if we're going to go or this and that. Like I've started being like, hey, Al, do you care? Like, can you please let your family know and I'll let mine know?
Right.
So that I'm not trying to, and same with like gifts. Like if we start getting, because what used to happen is I would do absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything down to the point where my husband didn't even know what we bought people.
He's like just as surprised as
He's like, oh, I knew she'd love that.
Yeah.
That's perfect. But like, I started getting bitter and resentful because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm literally taking on so much. It gets crazy this time of year, blah, blah, blah. And now I finally was like, why am I doing that? I could just ask him to be like, hey, you're going to get the gift for your brother this year.
Good luck.
You got it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
I'll wrap it. But you get it.
But you're going to
what happens in my household though is if I say that, the gift won't arrive at our house until 6 p.m. on the 24th.
You know what?
So sometimes I'm like, is that going to stress me out more? It. I don't know.
And that's again,
and then
pick your battles.
His brother's going to open a gift that's still in a Dillard's bag because
it is what it is.
Because I have already exhausted all my wrapping for the year.
I finally was just like,
yeah, pretty much.
Love you, but
this is on that topic about gift giving and wrapping. Having a spreadsheet has changed my life. That sounds really, I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
But it's true. Like I've had this for several years and I will put on like my family, Austin's family, friends that you get gifts for, and then any gift exchanges, because there's always a miscellaneous, like, especially whenever I worked in an office setting, there's your gift exchange for that, then your husband's in this gift exchange, then you're having to do this and that. Like, there's always miscellaneous things. And if you don't keep track of it, I'm not really a budget person. I get curious, like how much I'm spending. So I keep track of it. This is how my spreadsheet looks. I have them broken up by like my family members, and then I can keep it so I'm not spending like way more on one parent than the other or so on. Keep track of the spending. I'll keep track of like the link where I bought it or the shipping or the tracking number. Next column, like, did I buy it? Y/N. And then the next one, has it arrived? And then the next one, have I wrapped it? So I can like put X's in the boxes as I've like,
that's amazing,
ordered it, it's arrived, and I've wrapped it. So I can check them all off. And then I can see it at a glance, because that is so much to keep track of mentally. I've been doing it for several years. And if I don't, how do people just buy things and not have any kind of visual, like,
we just do it?
How?
I can't, because to me, taking the time to make the spreadsheet sounds like more work.
Well, I love to make a spreadsheet, so
I know.
I'll send you the template.
Yeah.
I actually will. Yeah,
I have to email it over.
It's so easy now because I've had it, so I just like tweak it every year. But I think my brain would explode. I would forget a whole person. I would like forget my brother existed if I didn't have it in front of me. So
I'm to a point where I'm like, no shame, sorry, I forgot about you.
That I respect it, and I aspire to be there one day. Next tip on gift giving: start earlier than you think you need to.
I know, which can feel stressful in itself.
Because sometimes I'm like, oh, it's too early to spend money. Because I do get to a point with Christmas shopping where I'm just like, we'll make the money back, I guess. Like, just, we got to buy all these gifts. Because there's always a point, like usually right now, where I'm like, I don't want to start spending money on Christmas gifts. Like,
it's October.
It's so early. Next thing you know it though, you're spending a lot in a very short period of time. Yeah. So it can be easier.
Might as well spread it out.
Yeah. And then also you're not having to rush to get it all done.
Also, you can always encourage, like with my siblings, we do like, you pick one sibling, like we draw out of a hat, randomize it.
That's smart.
Same with like Alex's side of the family, we randomize it because it's too much now.
Yeah.
Especially when like you start adding kids into the mix.
That's
it's like,
true.
whoa.
Yeah. We have luckily it's small on both sides, because none of my like Austin siblings or mine have kids yet.
Yeah.
And we each have one sibling, so it's very small. His extended family, we just do drawing, which is good. And then my side, we're kind of like graduated from gift giving. It's more just like we get together.
I love that.
We don't really do like it, because for a while it was gifts, and like it was great growing up. And then you get to a point where it's just, my aunt gives Evan and I like $50. And then my mom gives her two kids $50. And we're all kind of like,
why are we doing
We're passing around the same money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore. So we kind of stopped doing that.
It's
I'm
so
sure
smart.
we'll introduce it again when we have kids. But okay, final thoughts. Remember that the holiday season always comes to an end, and there's always January, and it's cold and it's desolate and it's sad and it's just the worst month ever, but it's not chaotic. So if you just hold on and just remember, like, every single year it's going to come to an end, no matter how busy you are, how spread thin, how sick you are of all the whatevers.
But or if something is like stressing you out, or like maybe the holiday season isn't super peppy and exciting, like maybe that's a hard time for whatever reason, like say no to things.
Yeah, exactly. And don't feel bad if you're not wanting to maximize it. Like if hearing all this, you're like, I just don't want to do all that stuff.
Don't do it.
Yeah, if you're having a year where you don't want to be holly jolly, more power to you. Like don't feel like you need to buy in just because everyone else around you is. If it's not bringing you joy, it's not bringing you joy. So
I love it.
That's all we got.
Okay, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for hanging
and watching.
with us.
We love you a lot.
Bye.
Bye.